We back, man. Look, this is episode 11. It doesn't even feel like, it's going to be part of the podcast because you're someone I talk to every single day, bro. Someone that I've kept in contact through the last 10 years of my life. I'm very happy and I'm very proud to, what you've accomplished in the soccer world. And, I want to let the audience know that today, LA Galaxy legend, a Boston College fucking record breaker, one of my closest friends, someone that I know, like the back of my hand. And yeah, man, we're going to dive in a little bit, get to know you a bit and, tell your journey. I feel like comes second nature to you. I feel like soccer, I've never met such a player or a person that soccer just comes to effortlessly. So I would like to welcome my boy, Charlie Rugg. What's good, bro?
What's up? Thank you for having me. I'm real glad you're doing this. I know a lot of people that you had on so far have said similar things about you doing this and you being the perfect person.
Now that we're in our 30s, now that we don't play anymore, I feel like me and you're on the same page as far as like we love it. There's a lot that we can give back. It's something that we've both, extremely benefited from. But, it's hard. It's a hard, system to conquer. You've been very successful and you not just at the youth level, at the collegiate level, but you've have MLS experience, you have major league experience. So you're someone that's seen it firsthand and you don't realize how epic your career is, bro. Coming from a small town, Massachusetts, going to play in the LA Galaxy, one of the biggest markets in the world, bro. I feel like in the next 10 years, LA is going to be the spot of the stars. So, I'm excited to document your experience with the Galaxy, with Boston College, and talk a little bit how you got started. I feel like Massachusetts it's a soccer hub of the United States.
Yeah, it's interesting because I live in California now, and I know that California is one of those like big soccer states, but the area that I'm in, Central Coast, is like it's pretty small, and there's not a huge pool of players. So it's interesting seeing how the club that I played for in the area that I was in growing up, playing soccer was such a center, and we had a high level club, and I didn't really realize how high level that club and that setup was for us. It was the Bolts was the main club, and then the Revs started their academy after, like towards the end of when I was like about to go to college. So it was mainly just the Bolts and then like some other random clubs that were like trying to compete with the Bolts. But like we won State Cup easy every year.
Yeah.
And like over here, it's like State Cup is huge
there's so many schools in Boston as far as, BU, Harvard, Northeastern, Boston College, and all the D2 schools. I feel like I feel like your chance of getting recruited by a school are higher in Massachusetts. As far as like the level may not be as competitive, but the Ed Kellys are going to show up. The Marco Coolmans are going to show up. Holy Cross is going to be there. I feel like there's a lot of it's a big hub for recruitment.
It definitely was, and I didn't really realize how the value of that being in it and just growing up in it and playing it. A lot of my career has been just like I didn't know what was going on. I was just going with it. And it just happened.
Yeah.
So, and that starts from club soccer. I was just playing, and like I'm fast, so I was able to be successful playing. So I just kept doing that. I kept being able to run past other kids, and then that's just like how my career went. Yeah, I got to college, and I can still run past people. And I didn't know what I was doing soccer wise. Really, I was just playing.
One of the strongest points I have for this platform is I keep saying that the American system doesn't have a direct blueprint. There's no information for young players. There's no information throughout the club or college. It kind of just like if it's working for you, just keep doing it. There's really no right way to do it. And I feel like what you were saying, I feel like I saw you play. I played 4 years with you at BC, and you always had a good year. But as far as like, I guess the vibe and energy I got from you is that you felt like you were already good enough, but you weren't getting as good as you could be. It was like, I'm more athletic than anybody, and we have a good enough group that can play me in behind the back, and I'm gonna be successful. And I feel like for you, that was the perfect atmosphere, perfect position to be in, because you got to score, you got to put the ball in the back of the net, you got to show your athleticism. And I feel like that's what the MLS was looking for. That's what these big leagues are looking for. And not to take any credit away from you, I feel like that's what we should take pride in American players. Like, you're an American player that is fast, is strong. There's so many players that if we're polished up, if you get more technical from the both states, not at BC, not at, after that, I feel like the work has to come before, but there's no guidance at all. It's like you said, you started, you kind of just started playing club, and then it went on to high school and stuff like that. And kind of, not that you got lucky, but you were fortunate that you fit the model of every single, of the system, I guess.
I completely agree that I got lucky. I got lucky in so many ways, but I completely agree with you that there's so much other stuff that's not focused on in the development part of the system. And I know you talk about the system a lot, but I think there's what I do right now is I coach kids, and I work with kids individually a lot, and a lot of that focus is on how they can have like a individual system within themselves, and how they can work on that and build that just as much as they're working their soccer and their technical skills and stuff like that. It's like I just kept playing and I was successful that way, but I missed a whole bunch of like the mental challenges and like the mental development that goes with some kind of difficulty or some kind of like testing your ability. And like you said, I was always just potential. I was always a lot of potential. A lot of coaches said, "Oh, you have so much potential," because there was a physical ability that I had. I didn't know soccer. I didn't know how to play, like understand the game. I didn't know how to manage like the emotional journey of the whole career, like the things that go on with that. And I think that's just like just waiting to be tapped. That kind of part of this whole thing is just waiting to be tapped, and somebody's gonna figure it out.
Man, I think, man, I think everything you say is, I've never heard you say. Like, I've talked to you every single day. I feel like me, you, Kyle Becker, Justin Luther, we talk about everything but soccer. Like, so for me to hear, where you're at now with the sport is definitely, I like it, bro. Cause I've always been not, I'm a huge Galaxy fan, and I've always said it, bro. Like, you have it, like the potential, not just the potential there, but the whole talent, like how successful you are with the college system, like, in the college system, in the MLS, the system failed you. The system is failing the Jazzy Zardes, the Darlington Nagbys, that, those guys didn't get to play a World Cup. There's nothing, I feel like as much as we think soccer is growing in America, it is, but we have to actually start taking care of what's important for the development of players.
When we're talking about a system, you have to think about that, like no system exists like individual of other systems. So it's the American soccer system, but it exists with all kinds of like American politics, all kinds of socioeconomic, everything is within, the American soccer system is within all that. So when you're talking about the American soccer system, we're not just talking about how we build our youth players. We're talking about how America is and the culture of America. I think a key word is culture in all of this. But the culture of America is a huge part of that. And think about how much stuff goes into that, how much stuff is plays a role in that. So like when I was playing in Germany, it's just a different feeling. Like the culture is just a different, it's just a different sport, like, or a different feeling about the sport. And that's, mostly because that's the only sport that they really care about. Yeah. But they also, if you're thinking about American culture versus German culture, it's very different. And a big part of that is we're like, we have like Hollywood here. We have like all of the like social media hubs and all that. So our culture is kind of focused around all of this fluff and all this like showy stuff. It's not actually like when you go to Germany, all these like clubs, every town has their own club, and it's not like they're not really trying to play, like they're not trying to be showy, they're not trying to be, they just want to, like, every weekend they want to just go and watch a game or play in a game and win and like compete and celebrate and all that. And that's what it's really all about. And they've been doing that since they're kids, and their family's been doing that. Everybody lives in the same town. Everybody knows everybody. They all have their local beer, like brewery or whatever. It's just a different culture around the whole game. And there is some of that flashy, showy stuff in certain cities, like bigger cities. But in general, these European countries, these other countries just have a different culture that ties into their soccer culture.
Yeah.
So I think if we're like, when we're looking at soccer culture in America, I think we also have to look at the culture of other areas of the country and how those are affecting that system.
And then I think no one's brought up so far in on the podcast is that, like, yes, there's not that they're distractions, but soccer is not a priority as far as like the American.
No, one of the things Alexi Lala said on, I think it was like a few years ago when the national team didn't make the World Cup. He was just talking about how everybody's spoiled. National team players are just these spoiled, like tattooed millionaires. And yeah, it might be a little harsh. They're great players, but at the same time, I think that is just a little bit of a taste of what I was just talking about with the culture of America feeding all the way up into the top of the game. So I think that just starts from the bottom and where we live.
Alexi Lawless, he's your dad, bro, but he's a Galaxy legend. I think he's important for soccer. He's a different era. He's lived it through a different time, but he does make a lot of good points about being spoiled. If you look at what happened with just Weston McKennie, like, this guy's at Juventus playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, but he's comes to the US and we haven't made the World Cup, bro. And in like the most important time, this guy decides to leave and party, and soccer's not even a priority in like on these players like mind. Why would it be a priority for our culture, for our people, for the regular fan? And it's just so disappointing because he's such a good caliber player, such a superstar, but it kind of just again goes, we can't even be mad at the kid because, bro, that's what American soccer is not that important. Like, as much we think we have a great, we make progress, it's just we're still decades behind, but it's getting there as far as like that. If okay, yeah, Weston McKennie, people are disappointed, but at least people care. At least people are mad, at least he's letting people down. So it shows you like the interest is there, that we're waiting.
I think we'll definitely get there eventually. Like, we have the money, we have the talent, we have all this stuff that if America wants to get to that point, then they will. They want to get to competing with the best leagues in the world. I don't think it's going to be very soon, but I think eventually they will. And it's just, again, they're working on it. They're actually doing the stuff, like taking things from other countries. They're taking like the academy system. They've been working on that and slowly shifting it into that for a while, but it's just going to take time.
Not that we have to lower our bar, but we have to lower our expectations. Like, I feel like America wants everything. We're so used to getting everything fast, bro. The vaccine fast, everything always fast in America. And it's like, it's so counterproductive that we have this support and we have this potential, but we can't beat El Salvador. We tied El Salvador and we tied Canada, and everyone's talking shit. Like, I feel like that's never, like, what'd you expect? Like, we're not that good. We're still on the come up. I feel like people are so, we're spoiled. And it's like, I'm only picking at that because that's part of the culture, bro. If we don't stick together as fans, if we don't, give Weston McKennie that second chance, and like, we're not going to elevate our culture. It's always just going to be a pissing contest. It's like, oh, if we're winning, we're going to be happy. But if not, we're just going to destroy and riot. And it's like, that's typical America.
Yeah. I mean, from my personal experience, like, I was saying, I wasn't really challenged or like pushed in soccer until I left college. Like, I didn't, how are we supposed to expect a player like me to be really contributing to the like, I don't know, the national team system or part of the professional league, when I didn't even, like, I was going to play football in high school.
Yeah.
I wanted to play football my freshman year in high school. And then my club soccer coach was like, oh no, you can't do that. Shout out Francis Akar. He played in the league for a little bit, but he was like, no, you can't do that, because he saw the potential. He saw like what I could do, but I didn't know that. Like I remember one time he told me, we were watching the 2006 World Cup with my club team, because we had I think we had a tournament, maybe regionals or something, and he told me, like, Charles, this is where you have to be. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, these are like the best players in the world. I'm like 14 or 15 years old. Like, yeah, right. That's ridiculous. But I see now that, like, yeah, anybody with like some, there's so many kids with potential, and like even the ones that don't have a ton right now or aren't that good right now,
Yeah.
they can do that. They can actually get to that level. It's crazy to me, like how like looking back now, how possible all that is.
You're someone that made it to the league just off raw talent, bro. Like, like imagine if you would have had
Not just raw talent though, is because it was so much luck too. Like my parents could afford like club soccer.
Yeah.
They could afford the schools that I was going to that wouldn't let me get in trouble and like keep my grades.
Yeah.
I went to private school. I was like, I had all that stuff too. So it wasn't just my physical ability. It was like all of that stuff goes into it too. And not only that, but there's like the cultural capital, which is like the ability to hang out in these like conduct yourself in places that you, or like understand how to conduct yourself in certain places. And a lot of these kids that are like from impoverished areas, like they come to college and they don't know how to behave, or they don't know how to like conduct themselves and fit in, and that contributes or takes away from their ability to move up through the system. So there's all kinds of stuff going into it that isn't related to like how good you are.
Like I'm listening to you. I'm hearing, I'm like, yo, there's so much shit that because I had a totally different journey. I was highly recruited. These opportunities were given to me because, I was an attractive youth player. But now that you think about it, like, bro, there's so many more obstacles than just getting free soccer. And then, the behaving stuff, showing to BC. And I had never seen so many white people in my life. So like, yo, what I do with my hands? Like these are a lot of points that no one has brought up that, it's good to bring out, because, the answer to us is like, to this whole project I have is like, why aren't we good at soccer? And it's just like, we have the talent. Like these are the reasons, bro. These are the hard realities that a lot of, you need a lot of luck. You need to be physically, you need to, just have like a straight, narrow path. And it's so hard for like individuals, and there's nothing being done. Like, I feel like soccer is it's an elitist sport. So, a lot of the talent
in this country, yeah, exactly. It is an elitist sport, like golf or something. Like, you don't see people coming out of the hood and playing golf.
Yeah, and
reason for that too.
It's a lot of the talent is in these poverties, in these, in the inner cities. And I've seen it's possible, bro. Like and it's crazy that we haven't even circled around it, but like the reason why is money. Like the reason why soccer is an elite sport is because people have dove into this idea that, like the Europeans play it, like my kids, it's just like a lot of like, this should be a sport that should be provided in school. Like basketball, you see basketball and football, baseball, that's like, stuffed into the public school systems, like where they give the kids opportunity. But it's only, even as far as like these basketball players, these football players don't have a place to develop. I feel like
privatized here, it's like a privatized sport, in a way. And that like we're talking about, it keeps a lot of people from entering into the path that's going to get them to the top, which is calling the top like professional or that kind of thing. But like I was saying before, I don't think it's just money. I don't think it's like a lot of people talking about, people are starting to talk about the American system now. Like it's not just happening here. It's not just happening. I mean, people are starting to talk about it and trying to figure out like what is happening or what's going on with our system that's causing us to not be competing with the highest countries in the world, the best countries in the world. And I really don't think it's as simple as just saying that it's the players that don't have money or the players that have money are the ones that are able to go into the system and play in
Yeah.
the system. I think we're not looking at the culture of the country and
Mhm.
how that relates to that whole system too. Because you can't just say, okay, take the we're gonna eliminate the money part out of it, and then all these players all these players that couldn't
Yeah.
afford to enter the system before are gonna be able to enter the system. There's still all this stuff with like, okay, are they gonna go to school? Or are they gonna like be able to go to school?
It's extremely lazy from the federation, from U.S. Soccer. Like we can't control public schools, we can't control, the government and shit like that. But I feel like U.S. Soccer has no clue, bro. Like no plan to provide access at the youngest age for free. I feel like they're entitled and they're part of the monopoly that's soaking up a lot of this money. So, yeah, we like let's grab money out of this, like out of it, and no investment is done. No investment is being as much money as we're making from soccer. We're not investing no money into youth centers or like actually youth, not just youth centers, bro, but youth centers that are under the US Soccer umbrella, under the Galaxy umbrella. And it's like that's, I feel like when it comes to like owners and business people, that's their last worry. That's not, they don't understand the concept that if you put up these youth centers or soccer academies, that the talent is going to come from there and we can develop that talent and then we can sell that talent, and that's how we do our business. I feel like everything in America again needs to be done fast. So it's nothing. There's no risk. Like I feel like there, as much as we keep trying to point fingers, oh, it's the federation at the end of the day. Yeah, they have a youth national team. Yeah, but it's like there's no U.S. soccer schools.
I think they're starting to do that now. I think they're like trying to shift in that direction.
Yeah,
I know that the Galaxy is one of the first ones to. I mean, they were the first ones to have a USL team.
yeah,
The first MLS club to have a USL pro team, and that's, I know that they have academies all over California. They have like Galaxy Visalia, Galaxy Orange County. Like
yeah,
they're spread out all over the place, and so they're trying to like create some kind of
yeah.
uh, infrastructure that they have taken from like the European style.
Yeah,
But I think it's gonna be a slow process, and it's not. I don't think it's just them now. I think other clubs have like caught on and are like doing a similar thing, but it's not a it's not it's still kind of taking some of the old way of doing things. Like there still has to be money involved in
yeah.
a big way to like get players.
Money is not just an obstacle, but I feel like even if you get more basic, what's hard for the American players, that the traveling, bro. America's so big and like you have to be on the road 2 hours. It takes so much fucking time. So this is my problem with US soccer not being involved. Like why isn't soccer like a local thing? Like all the good players, there's 4 or 5, let's say, like youth centers in your hometown, and that's like the feeding system. That's what kind of, or you do it at schools. I feel like there's nothing being done where it's like we're not making it easier for the player. Like as we, yeah, we can attack money, we can provide more access, but as like providing access is like also building soccer locally. I feel like that's a problem, not having it locally, because that's less time that you're playing. I feel like even in the system we have here in America right now, like we're not playing enough soccer. The college, I don't have a problem with college soccer, but I have a problem with college soccer only being 3 months. So you're only playing those 3 months. So I feel like for us, for players like you that are need to get more technical or like at a younger age, you got to play and have more games. There's no system providing like the infrastructure, like as far as like the playing system so kids can play, and like the travel, and like it's all, I feel like we're so far behind. And I hear you when you were saying that a Galaxy, but I feel like it's so slow. I feel like a Galaxy is going to attach their name to a club team because they want to they want to use each other's names, and these are like, maybe I don't think I'm being too harsh, right? I just feel like they're just like marketing schemes. They're actually like the intentions to grow the sport are not there. So I feel like till yeah, like what Alexi Lawless says, we're spoiled. Like we have to actually tell it how it is, and it's like, yeah, but like The big club, they're about to add 3 more teams to the MLS. That puts us at 32 or like 30 plus, bro. That's 30 major cities where these LA Galaxies, LAFCs could have districts, could have take over that, and they could all feed through a system, you know, and like actually hold these kids accountable, give them something to play for. Because State Cup is State Cup, yeah, cool, but like, did you actually play everybody? You know, it's like there's only even playing soccer, club soccer, there's only a limited amount of clubs. You know, I feel like the competition is limited, and I feel like this is all affecting, you know, the development of soccer. And it's like, I guess, yeah, that's just to elaborate that is, yeah, not on money, but it's just like these are also the other things that are failing us as players.
Yeah, I think that it's not, you can't just look at I know I keep saying this, but you can't just look at the US soccer system. You have to also look at what other systems are there in the US that are affecting that. So like right now, the current system and what it's always been has been go to college and play play club. You have to play club to go to college, to get scouted and recruited by college. And then you have to play in college for a certain amount of time. And then you get like scouted by professional clubs. Mm-hmm. And then that's how you get to professional. And I mean, that's like the route that we still have. So how much is the college system affecting the whole system?
Yeah,
the college that's a business too. That's another whole business. So like other countries their system isn't competing with that part of the system.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, there's like, yeah, you highlighted the blueprint, but I feel like none of those things are connected. College soccer is not really connected with the MLS. No. The MLS that's a very, yeah, man, like, not at all.
So yeah, because I mean, that part of the system is in competition with the other system, with the collegiate system, and like why they have, I mean, like I said, it's a business. Like, yeah, maybe college soccer isn't making all the money that football teams are, but they're still a business, and they're still trying to get people to come to their schools. They're still trying to get their name recognition for their schools in whatever way they can. So it's just having the soccer part of the US system as part of their brand is a value, valuable. So they're not going to like easily let that go.
It's in shambles, man. And that's why I'm taking it upon myself to like at least try to find answers, like what's going on, like why. Because people will tell you like soccer sucks in America, it's not growing, we're bad. But like even people that don't know soccer will tell you soccer sucks. But ask them like why, and they can't tell you. And then, but you ask somebody also that knows soccer, and they can't tell you either. You know, and
it's just the stigma of the like again the culture of it is that's what it's always been, so that's what it is now. But I wouldn't say that it's in shambles. I wouldn't say that it's the U.S. system and the U.S. soccer whatever is in shambles. I just think it's very complicated because our country is so complicated, like I was saying, how systems are affecting systems, and I think it's just going to take some time to figure it out. But I actually do believe that it will get figured out. It will in the next 10-20 years, whatever. US will be.
It's coming, bro, because you look at Jamie Vardy investing in the Rochester Rhinos, big trust, investing in United. Like they know they know America's gonna get there. So, you know, but do we care about, obviously the business side is always gonna boom and it's gonna get there, but it's also we have to, you know, worry and actually provide a good level. Like if we want to start this tradition, like it's crazy because I thought, you know, when I started watching the MLS in the fucking 90s, like I was just like, yo, by the time I play there, it's gonna be like the EPL. By the time that I thought about it, you know, we're so far behind that, bro. But Sachi said it best. Sachi said it best. Like our soccer is so young, bro. It's only 25 years. So it's not an excuse, but look what we've done in the last 25 years. And I feel like we have everything, but just we don't have it organized. We don't have the right steps. We're this close. And I feel like once we figure that out, the market, the audience, the sellout, it's if you look at the NWSL, They're a super league, bro. Everybody wants to come here and play. Like that's how the MLS is going to be eventually.
I remember my first year in LA, there were like somebody from the league came in and was like talking to us about the trajectory of the league. And they said like by 2022, we're aiming to be one of the top 3 leagues in the world. And I remember the players like looking around, some of the players looking around like, I don't know about that. Because that's obviously ambitious. But I know that like these clubs that are popping up everywhere, that is so much money that they're not going to get a return on that for a long time.
Yeah.
So they're seeing this as like everybody's jumping on board, seeing this as going somewhere for sure.
Yeah. I think eventually, just because of technology and the time and the experience we've had and the current times we live in, like I feel like soccer, as far as like the business side, is going to be in better hands. Like, people are going to realize that it's not just about selling seats. They're going to be like, actually, I feel like the general managers and the owners are actually going to start investing in the communities and seeing if they can actually find these homegrown players and not just, at a young age, as far as like 6, you see pictures of Iniesta, bro, at 10 years old, Barcelona. Like,
exactly. Yeah. Like how do we figure out how to get our players into that kind of system? Because that's why they're so good. That's why all these players that are playing in these European leagues and countries, they're good because that's all they've done since they're 5 years old. Yeah. That's all they've cared about, all they've done since they're 5 years old.
But that's why it means so much. That's why there's so much like value, and it's more than just a sport and a championship. It's like, yo, this is something, an art almost, that, these clubs, and it's like being a doctor is a profession, bro. Like what Iniesta did or like what these European clubs are provide, the opportunities they're providing for, players at such a young age. It's like a professional career. And over here, I feel like it's like, if it's a hobby, you can maybe make some money, but even here in America, there's like no value in being a soccer player. There's like,
because what's the highest value in America? What system is the highest value in America? College. Go to college. You have to get your degree. If you get your degree, then you're okay. So
I feel like
that's the focus.
I actually see changing a little bit faster, that I feel like a lot of players are skipping it, that are realizing, this might be a scam. This might be not that it's not a scam, but like they're going to realize that maybe this is not the best way. Maybe this shouldn't be our number one priority. So they're skipping, they're signing USL, they're signing, to homegrown contracts. And like, I would rather our players take a risk on themselves like that, because the window of being a professional athlete is so small. You can always come back to school. I feel like the education coaches have to give their players also has to be better, because, our coaches were actually trying to recruit us to college. So it was just like, it's not like they were trying to help us get into the pros. It was like, Marco Koeman is going to try to get you to Ed Kelly because he's going to be at BC.
Yeah, but that system is still valuable. Like I said, going to college is still so valuable in America. So like you can't, until that's not a thing, you can't just say that, all right, we're going to take a shot on like going pro. And like if the college system isn't as valuable, like getting a degree isn't as valuable, okay, then maybe.
Yeah, okay, facts.
That can shift. But like I was saying, systems affecting systems, like the college system, if that changes to like, maybe it's like everything's online one of these days, more stuff is online. Maybe you're like the like college teams kind of die out, like college soccer teams kind of die out in some way eventually, and you can still go to school while you're playing professional.
I think it also has to go, there has to be a better, back to the MLS and the NCAA being connected. Like they have to have a system.
Exactly. Like something like that has to get figured out, because Boston College is $60,000 a year, right? I was making my first year in MLS $40,000 a year. Okay. And that's like, how does that make any sense to give up if you're not going to, especially if you're on scholarship? How does it make any sense to skip a year of college to go make less money than you would your degrees worth?
It makes no. You know what's crazy about that is not NCAA is not connected with the MLS, but I feel like the MLS Combine, the MLS Draft is all marketed to the college soccer. They have that because of college soccer. Like, did you think you were going to play college soccer? What do you remember from like, you know, your high school recruiting process?
All right. So I played club soccer, I think starting when I was like 12. I think that's when I started. Like,
man, that's mad late, bro.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it was around 12.
Yeah.
So anyways, I started with one coach. It was like somewhat competitive. We were okay. And then that other coach, Francis Okara, he took over at U15 when we were 15. And he was all business. Like he had taken the older team, the year older than us. Shane Williams was on that team. Aaron Mon, so many good players on that team. So he had taken them. They won nationals the year before. He took over our team. So it was like this huge shift for our team, and we were all fired up, and like we were also terrified of this guy, big like tall Nigerian guy, and he would just like yell at us. But anyway, so that we shifted to him at U15, and that's when I got like way more serious with soccer. And that was also my freshman year of high school. So like I was like, I'm thinking about football, maybe running back, like take this speed somewhere else. And he found out about that, and he was like, no, you can't, you're not going to play for me and play football.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good thing. Around 15, playing club. I also played high school, but that was a joke. At least in Boston or Massachusetts.
I feel like that was my next question. It was high school a big part of your, I've asked this to everybody, was high school a big part of your recruiting process? And everyone says, nah, it's a joke. And no. I feel like, but that points out right there where soccer is, bro, that there's no investment into the public schools, or like there's no pride in playing for representing your high school. It's like,
I mean, it was also private school. So there was like a smaller, it was ISL, independent school league. Charlie Davies played in that league too, I think, and he just toyed with everybody, just ran circles around everybody. But yeah, it was a joke, and it was fun, like to just dominate that, but it was mostly about club soccer. So I played for the Bolts, grew up playing for the Bolts, and when Francis took over, that was when it was like, okay, the whole idea of this team is to win nationals. We're trying to win a national championship. So that was our only goal. That was our only focus. A whole bunch of players got weeded out like right away. He brought in some new players, and that was all we were about. We're going to win nationals. So State Cup became like, obviously we're going to win 7-0 in the State Cup final. Regionals, FC Delco, 3 years in a row. And I got to come back to my boy, Greg Cochran, about this. 3 years in a row. So we won State Cup every year, easy. We get to the finals of regionals, 3 years in a row. We're facing FC Delco from
Pennsylvania. Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Every single year, we were up. We were winning. We were going to win. Somehow, every year, they either scored a late goal, go to PKs, or get a free kick at the end, or like some kind of magic happened, and they beat us every year in regional finals. So we never got to nationals, and it was the same team every year. My roommate, my first year in LA, Greg Cochran, he was on that team. And this is important. I tell this story to a lot of my players, my younger players. He wasn't a starter on that team. Mm-hmm. So he was on that team club, and then a few years later he's getting drafted to Galaxy as a non-starter on his club team, which I think is so important for so many players to hear, because you can literally be at that point and then you have no idea where you're going to be in a few years after that.
Same thing with Daniel Stairs. That's how I grew up playing with Daniel Stairs, bro. Daniel Stairs was not really highly recruited, and he's still, bro, one of the probably how long has he been? He's been at LA for like,
he's an LA legend now. And he was I was playing with him on Galaxy too, also.
Yeah.
And he was, that's crazy. Good for him.
Yeah, it's like, I remember my parents, like my dad was a hater, bro. But if there's one thing that my dad was right, is like, bro, not the best players is gonna make it. Like not the best, not the shiny, not the superstar. So yeah, it's definitely not. It's important not to get discouraged, not to,
Yeah.
it's always, yeah, you always got to improve. Like, and you also have to realize that when you're 16, 17, like those are the years to get better. So like, if you're, down there, you're not starting, or you're not, if you don't keep working, you're not going to actually ever going to.
Well, this is what I'm focusing on now, because this is like everybody's going to play. So I say to all my players, everybody's going to keep playing soccer. If you're going to keep playing soccer, you're going to keep playing soccer and keep getting better at soccer, at playing soccer. But you're not going to, like, at some point, everybody's going to be as fast as you are. Everybody's going to, or almost as fast as you are. Everybody's going to be about the same size. Everybody's going to be able to, like, have a similar ability with the ball. Not the same, but similar. There's something that happens with certain players. What is it that happens with certain players that allows them to go to the next level, or figure out the next step, or figure out the next thing that other players can't figure out? Yeah. And it's all up here.
Yeah.
It's mostly up here, whether it's the cultural capital I was talking about before, or it's just the way that you think. And a lot of, or your parents, the way that your parents were putting pressure on you, or not putting pressure on you when you were younger. Yeah. And so what I focus on a lot with these kids is, how can you build a system in yourself that keeps you steady, keeps you at a steady level, no matter what's going on, and lets you figure out how to navigate all of these different steps, and just stay calm and stay sound within yourself, so that you're not, when you have a bad practice, you can go within yourself and decide, okay, this isn't going to dictate how my next practice is going to be, or my first half of this game doesn't indicate how the next half of my game will be.
You know who was doing that at such an early age, bro? You played with Travis Bowen.
Yeah.
His brother, Tristan Bowen, bro. Mm-hmm. I played with him at a tournament for the LA Galaxy Academy, and this kid would read books, and I would ask him, like, yo, why are you reading that? He's like, bro, I got to get smart up here. Like, I sat next to him. I asked him that question, and then on the way to a game, he was reading the book, and he's like, look, bro, I'm going to read 10 pages and I'm going to score 2 goals today. Bro, that was, he, like, I got, I put the beats on, and I was trying to bump. Like, the way he prepared is why he was successful. Like, why he was, that guy signed a pro contract like 2 years after, and played in the league. Yeah. So that's a very important, interesting part of the game that it's not really talked about.
That's what I'm saying, is like a huge part of what has to get figured out in a whatever our system is, whatever you want to call our system. Because there's, like, when I was coming up, I would just, like I said, I just play. I'd show up and play. I'm still fast enough that I can get away with it. Most of the time successful, sometimes not successful. But there was no, like, I was like, I took it seriously. I took it like it was a big part of my life, but I wasn't like,
you were in challenge, bro. You were in challenge.
I wasn't challenged, and I wasn't trying to, like, figure it out. I know that I did have the feeling of, like, I want to know what I have to do. I want to play professional. I want to, at a certain point, I decided that, and I wanted to play professional, and I just want to know, what do I have to do? Like I just wanted somebody to tell me, what can I do other than just play and, like, practice and all that? Like, what do I have to do? How does one get to the professional level? And I didn't know how to do it. Even at the professional level, like, I could have used so much guidance on just, like, off of the field, or just, like, navigation from, and you get like some agents a little bit will give you a little bit, but they don't really care.
That's a business, like, too.
They're just like, just kind of like repeating the same thing to everybody. You need so many people could use somebody that just can guide them through the journey, just guide them through different parts of the journey, how to handle it up here, how to go into it, prepare for games. So many players, even Charlie Davies, he had a bad year his first year at Hammarby out of college. He was a huge signing, and he's talked about how he was eating, like, cheeseburgers, and, like, he just didn't know how to take it seriously. And who knows, that could have been the deciding year of his career that sent him down a different path. And if he had somebody that got him back on track, or showed him, like, how to carry yourself as a professional earlier on, then maybe it would have been a different story. Luckily, he figured it out the next year and was just beasted the league. But maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe he doesn't figure it out. So there's so many things that go into it that people just don't even think about. People aren't even
I haven't even thought about, no one's brought this point up. Like it's almost mostly like we have to get technical, you have to train, but like no one's given us specific answers on like the other side, the mental side. Like, and we hear a lot of mental stuff and like, that we're not getting enough, but like it's definitely the emotional side of it, but also like thinking outside the box as a soccer player, throwing different concepts, different scenarios to these players that, they're going to be able to handle that stress. And I feel like players are smart, bro, especially if you have all the tools and we have all the athleticism. That's very true. I feel like that's probably one of the answers why American players are hitting a roof, like we're strong, we're technical. Even if you read the game right, like we're still not creative or, reaching beyond the next level because we're not thinking there.
So if you look at, so for me, I hit the point where I needed help with that, the most help with that when I went to the professional level.
Yeah.
I think maybe you had issues when with various things in college and that how does that affect you here? I mean, that's going to affect your game so much. And if you have some kind of system or some kind of structure that's going to help you get through that mentally and be confident in yourself and your abilities to have you erase all or anything negative that happens on the field or off the field and just perform how you know how to perform, that kind of thing, having that kind of structure in yourself, I think just can give players a huge advantage of resiliency for whatever happens. Because when I got to the professional level, it was every single day was like, every day was so stressful because I got to prove myself in practice every day. And if it doesn't go well, the world is over. Like our world is over. If I don't have a great practice today, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Like my career's over. I didn't make it. I'm going to get cut. And then when things go well too, you need some kind of system for when things go well. I scored my first goal in my first start, 13 minutes in. I don't know how to handle this. I can't believe what's happening right now. It's my first.
I was so lit that day. I remember that day.
But seriously, like, how do I handle that? How do I keep my humility? How do I like stay steady and keep working and keep growing or outside of just being excited and feeling like I'm the man? So like there needs to be way more training here.
Yeah.
I think more so than getting technical and like, I hate like just doing cone drills and all that. Like you're not, yes, I do some training on the field and I try to figure out what will be useful on the field. So I'll try to like recreate situations and just like drills based on that. But just random cone drills, like let's leave that in the 80s or whatever. 90s. It's so dumb. People need to learn how to practice up here.
I had this lady this summer be upset because I was running a camp and she was upset that I wasn't teaching any skills. Like her daughter was 13. And I was just like, well, what kind of skills do you want me to teach her? Like maybe I could show her some moves, maybe make her happy, She's like, you're not putting the hurdles up. You're not. Yes. I'm like,
I've had the same thing with parents. Like I don't see enough cones on the field. Like we want to see more cones on the field. I'm trying to teach your kids like how to go through this whole journey. There's a huge journey ahead of them. They're 12 years old. You want more cones? Like there's way more to this than just setting up cone drills.
Education is so bad, but it's the bullshit that has been fed to American, like the culture that's fed to America, like, that they have to do this and this is part of soccer, when it's like, you don't have to have the most glamorous or colorful curriculum. It's like, you have to put these kids in like game-like scenarios and then paint the picture to them. Like, look, you could do this. And if it doesn't work, this is your other option. And, those were, you got to be able to think fast and develop that thinking to be 2-3 steps ahead in the game. So I think that, what you're saying is right, bro. I think there's no, as far as like, there's no direct blueprint, but there's the system and the coaches are not giving us the right tools as a professional, like a professional mentality, a professional work ethic, a professional way to take care of your body. It's always just like, I feel like we definitely have to shift our thinking and our development to areas like what you're saying up here.
Mm-hmm. And the beauty of that is that developing that like solid way of thinking and that way of conducting yourself applies to the rest of your life too. It's not just soccer. You can take that, whatever that system in your mind is that keeps you resilient, you can take that into your life, and it'll be just as valuable afterwards. Yeah. And I think that's a huge important part too, because obviously a small percentage of people are going to be going to the higher level in this youth development system.
You know what's the best part about you saying all of this, bro, is that you lived through it. Like you're someone that grew up in the system that did it right, and this like, yo, this is what I lacked, and this is what didn't work for me. I feel like these are the you and like your experiences are the credible experience that we need to have on the youth national level, or like in the high offices at the academy at the LA Galaxy. And it's not like that, bro. We're still seeing a lot of Europeans, a lot of people that have been in the game so fucking long, that have these badges, that don't really have that experience. Like I didn't know that because I didn't get to a level like the pro level where it was just like, I haven't even thought about that. I just thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I just stop, but it's like, I didn't have the strong mentality. It was like how to deal with BC, how to deal with being on the bench, how to deal with bro, that's a very, very important.
Yeah. And it's more than just mental toughness. Like people say mental toughness. It's way more than that. It's combining the sports psychology with the sport itself. It's just combining those. And I'm telling you, somebody's going to figure out hopefully America is one of these leaders in this, but look at Simone Biles.
Yes.
Like there's just, it's happening. It's going to happen. It's going to become a huge part of all sports because I'm telling you, everybody's going to be.
The tennis girl, what's her name? Naomi. She was also talking about that too.
It's going to be a huge part of what separates, I think, this next generation of athletes, not just soccer, but just athletes, is how you're able to manage up here. And obviously a lot of these, like I'm sure a lot of these professional individual sport athletes have their sports psychologist or their whatever, somebody coaching them in that sense. But I think it has to be injected into these youth systems and the ways of learning to really help the system.
This is definitely the information that has to be shared, that has to be implemented into the youth system, that's actually gonna get us out of this slump. Like I think the most frustrating part about this journey of like, why aren't we good at soccer? It's like, bro, we're good enough. Like I don't know what to tell people. People don't know what to say. It's just like, this is like, we're not actually developing the full athletic, or we're not developing the whole athlete completely. It's almost it's
the whole person though. Like I think we need to look at, instead of looking at the athlete, the whole athlete, we need to start looking at the whole individual when you're coaching them, or when you're when you're helping develop a youth program or something like that. Because again, like I was saying with the system, the US system, it's not just the US soccer system, it's the all the systems that it exists with. And when you look at an individual, it's not just the athlete, it's the whole person and their whole history and all their experiences that are coming in to make them an athlete. So if you can look at and treat all of those things together, then it's going to be way more beneficial than just coaching soccer, coaching drills, and coaching, like make them faster and make their touch better. I think it's a huge separator in advantage to developing a player, especially when they're younger.
I feel like if the youth clubs throw the word development around like very loosely, almost like a selling point, this is what youth clubs should be implementing. That this is the next generation that I want to see. Is like, okay, like, this curriculum is cool and colorful, and I'm sure you European philosophy, or no, but what are you doing for my son, or like for my for the next generation of players? Are you guys developing that resilient, like how to think outside the box, how to deal with your emotions, how to deal with pressure and competition? Like that, no club has ever said that. I think I remember growing up going to like ESP, and they brought in like a mental, yeah, it's always been mental, like toughness,
Yeah.
blah, 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 this, that, but like,
Yeah, they have. It's always like in colleges or like, I think Galaxy has somebody that like somebody comes in and like gives you a little something, or like maybe a little thing here or there, but there's no like, this is how you learn how to play. There's no like rewriting the textbook on how to get better.
development, bro. It's crazy that this is all development, and like this is the word that's been thrown around the most, but no one has broke it down to me, anybody like this.
Yeah, I think it's like 90% of the whole development is that.
Yeah, man.
And I think I'm a good example of that, because I'm so just physical. I was coming up, I was so just physical talent, and I just relied on that so much. So it was such a shock when it was like, okay, now I'm professional and I have to, I need more than just my physical, because
Yeah,
I've always been fast. That was my thing. And now like the slowest guy on the team is like not that much slower than me. So
yeah,
like I don't have just that anymore. And then I don't have the technical ability that I was like, which was never great, but like I was never working on that super hard, because I could just push the ball past someone and run past. And I had, not to mention, I had Kyle Becker, who is like my Boston College career wouldn't have been the same if he wasn't in the midfield.
yeah.
So like when I got to LA, I wasn't the man anymore, obviously, which is like a lot of people's experience coming out of college and going to professional. But I also didn't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
Like nobody tells you how to handle that. And there has to be people who have the experience of that same experience that can tell you, okay, so this is going to be the shock of going to this next level, which is a huge jump, and the culture is going to be different. Everybody's playing for they're feeding their families with this game. Now it's not just like play college game and then go party with your friends. It's like serious. This is their jobs. Everybody involved, it's their job, it's their life. So it's way more serious. And here's how you can adjust to fit into that culture. So there's at every level, I think there's the youth level that it needs to be, the mental part of it needs to be relooked at or reworked. And then when you even up to college and then professional, there's always all these levels that this main thing of just like how to think about things and how to navigate these mental parts of the game are just not even, like, it's non-existent.
No, bro, man, blew my mind. But like, bro, yeah, bro, I'm telling you, these are the answers. These are the conversations I'm searching for, because there was no way I've never even thought like really diving into it, but like I've thought about it, but maybe like the way you just put it, it's like it all makes sense. Like the lack, again, it goes to us being lazy, bro. Like we're not like these youth clubs, US soccer, like there's no agenda. I feel like there's no priority. It's just like money, you know?
It is. And there's like egos that like, I played at a certain level, so I'm going to come in and be this coach, and I don't need to like think about things. I have the resume, so I don't need to like change things at all. I played at this level. I have the resume. Listen to me. That's the egos coming into, there's just a lot of those coming into power in the college system, in the whatever, into the academies, whatever.
I think that's where our generation is going to change it. I feel like the people who are in those big, powerful positions, they're getting old. They've been comfortable for the last 20 years. So I feel like that's what stunt our growth. But we're going to eventually, you're going to get up there. You're going to get your license. You're going to get your, put on a D1 college staff. You're going to start weeding these people out.
I don't want that, bro. I don't want to go into that. I have my club coaching license, whatever, but I don't need to go up through that system. I'd much rather focus on helping whichever group. There's going to be some group that figures out that we need to rethink this whole development system. We need to rethink this whole, and add in the way that you think about playing, the way that you like, your whole energy around it has to shift. And some group is going to figure that out. And I'd much rather be part of that and try to help that than just jump into some club or some college team. Kevin Allen, his team in Florida International, that was like they were so successful with him.
Yeah.
Because of his personality, because of they trust him. They like that's not because of his soccer knowledge. That's not because he's like so good at navigating. It's because he got something out of the players that made them. I'd be willing to bet this. He got something out of the players that was better than just like drilling them and getting them to like better at soccer. He got their attitudes in a healthier place.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be someone that or a group that comes together and puts that into their whatever they're doing, whatever their development, even if it's on a professional level, like add it to some club, some professional club. And I think somebody's going to find success with that, and then it's going to change the whole game.
Yeah, man. That's where it's definitely that's where it's heading, bro. Like at least I'm glad we're having these conversations. And because 25 years ago, like, bro, the conversations like we don't even have a fucking league, like, you know, so that shows the evolution of this sport, and it's like so young, bro. Like 50 years from now, once we sort it out, I feel like not just for soccer, like you said, this is a thing that has to, you know, get sorted out for or reformed for like every sport across the board.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, you mentioned Kyle Becker, my glory days. So I want to talk about BC, bro, because I feel like you had the talent, bro. You're a striker. You can score, strong as fuck, like fast, like the ideal college athlete, you know? So, how'd you end up at BC? How, you know, under Ed Kelly?
So I was getting scouted from various schools. So I was started getting letters and stuff, like you probably remember, just like whenever they're allowed to start sending email. So it came down to like 4 schools. I think it was Providence, BU, and Villanova.
Yeah.
Maybe one more, maybe 3 schools. So came down to 3 schools, and I was like pretty set on going to one of those 3. And then the last Delco FC Delco regionals, Ed Kelly was there, I guess, and I don't know, somebody told him to watch me or something. Somebody told him about me, and I think I scored a goal in that game. But anyways, after that tournament, he called me and offered me a scholarship, and that was it. So it was like last minute. I was like, it was late in the process too. I was kind of ready to like commit to one of these other schools.
Yeah.
And he just came along last minute, and it was like the best soccer school that I had the option to go to, and the best academic school. So it was just kind of a no-brainer.
Oh, bro. And you got to stay at home, bro.
Yeah, and it was just an easy like 15-minute drive from home.
Man, the reason why I want to talk about your college process and Ed Kelly is because I feel like the college system, it works, bro. And so certain situations for certain players, it works. For you, I feel like you had a perfect career there. You played. It was the group fit, the style of play that Ed Kelly wanted, like was worked around you. And I feel like he also took care of you. So you hear a lot of stories about college coaches and like their bad ways and kind of just like not developing. But I feel like in certain instances, and I want to, shine the light that, yeah, it can work. Those, because Ed Kelly, I do remember, getting you places to play in the summer and, trials overseas. And I think all of that is important if you're going to go to the college. If you're going to play off in college, I feel like that makes a tremendous difference for your chances to play at the next level.
Yeah. And like you said, I happen to fit into college soccer pretty well because it's pretty physical, not super technical, and I just had success right away. So yeah, Ed Kelly's gonna favor players that are helping his team win. So yeah, he did a lot to help me. I mean, he helped me and a couple other players go to Sweden one summer. He helped me with my recruiting. Actually, the LA scouting was, I mean, at least he claims that he talked to Dave Sarakin and had him keep an eye on me at the combine. But yeah, he definitely did a lot for me, and I couldn't be more grateful for my experience with Boston College. I mean, who knows? There's so many that could have gone so many other directions for me. If I went to a different school, maybe a different coach doesn't like me as much. Maybe I don't have a Kyle Becker that just has that like sense of like can play me the ball. He knows I'm going to be running there, and I know he's going to play me the ball, and that's how we linked up all the time. So like, maybe that's not the case, and it doesn't go that route. But I couldn't have had a better college experience. I didn't have like amazing seasons. I'd say like I didn't have like I was never All-American or anything like that, but I was consistent for 4 years or 4 seasons, and I would just feel very lucky to have gone there, and just a group of guys that was like that was a huge part of it too, because like if you're not with a good group, then your confidence on the field is going to be different, your whole energy is going to be different, and so all of that going into it, I think, made me have a successful college career.
Yeah, man. We had I wanted to ask you how, because the game is fast. The ACC is fast, bro. You know, how much, at least from the USL, how do you compare like both styles of play?
The ACC and the USL?
Yeah, as far as like the college system, is it like similar as far as like level?
No, I don't think so. I think the jump from, like I said, the jump from college to pro is a big one. There's a big gap there. And that's just because you're playing in college, you're playing with players that there's a large chunk of the team that's like not all about soccer. There's a large chunk of the team that they can play, but they're mostly there for school. So that just takes the whole game down a little bit. But you still have the players that can play at the higher level. So it's just kind of a combination of that. But USL is, so if you take those good players that are all about soccer and can play at that higher level, it just brings it up a little bit sharper at USL Pro.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like more athletic or anything like that. It's just a little bit sharper, a little bit more technical, a little more structured to like the team systems and like the way that they play. But USL, I loved playing USL Pro. That was probably, I mean, I had my best season when I was on loan to Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
And I was just like more comfortable playing at that level because I hadn't figured out how to play at the MLS level yet. And I didn't have.
The reason I asked that is because I feel like, I believe the USO should be the next stepping stone, or, you know, the same equivalent stepping as far as step as into the pros as the college level. Like, you know, there's a lot, not everyone's going to get a scholarship. Not everyone's going to get like to walk on this team. So I feel like the USL it's people talk shit about the USL and it's like, oh, it's like, you know, not a good level. It's like the MLS is already not a good level, but I feel like it's like for the development for a player to develop after, like, you know, who's not ready to maybe be in the MLS, I feel like it's the right stepping stone. And
and there has to be that stepping stone.
And what's sad about it is that stepping stone is not connected either. You know, the USL Premiership and the USL are connected, but like there's nothing like really the USL. I feel like it should be college USL or, you know, MLS. So you have good 4 good years at BC. Man, we were ranked. We made this tournament every year, bro. And I feel like our freshman year, good Cinderella round, we made it to round of 16, and it was. I feel like we had a good, not just a good experience, but like our team was good, bro. Like I'm happy that, you know, I was able to play those 4 years with you, with Kyle Becker, Murphy, Connor Fitzpatrick, Carl Reddick. Like these are guys who actually love to play, you know, who try and play after college. And, you know, you and Becker were the lucky ones, bro. Not only were you guys, you know, make it into the MLS, but you guys were drafted first round. That's huge, bro. You know, for you as a player, for Kyle Becker, like getting drafted, I think he went 3rd. And I remember, from what I remember, bro, sitting, this is why I think the MLS combine and the MLS draft is a lot of it doesn't make sense. A lot of it's for show, bro, because I was sitting next to you the day of the draft. and you didn't know if whether you're gonna get drafted or not.
You told me. You were the one who told
me. We were watching it, and then it was delayed, and then I retweeted. I refreshed my Twitter, and it was like Charlie Rugg to the LA Galaxy, and I was like, bro, that's you, 19th, bro. And
that was like one of the happiest days of my life. And I agree with you that the combine and the draft is not. I mean, it's kind of just, you should know like your players, and it shouldn't be based on 3 games.
Yeah.
But yeah, the draft day was one of the best days of my life.
But you had no clue that you were going to get drafted. You had like an idea. You had time. I remember you had talked to coaches.
So here's how it happened. If you remember, and this goes back to what I was saying about what happened the first half does not dictate what's going to happen the second half. And that's why I tell all my players so often is I was injured for a large part of my senior year. So I didn't end up getting invited to the combine initially.
Yeah.
So I was crushed when that came out. I wasn't invited to the combine. And then there's like a second round where they invite a few more players. So I made it in through that. And I had this chip on my shoulder about it. I was like, because I had been thinking about pro, like going since freshman year. And then all of a sudden I'm not invited to the combine. This can't be happening. So I did end up getting invited in the second invite round or whatever. And so I went and I scored a couple goals or something. I think I scored 2 goals or something like that. I was battling an injury still too, but I was able to play. And the way that they do it while you're there, any of the clubs will invite you to their like hotel and like have a meeting with you. Some of the teams do it with like everybody. Like I think Real Salt Lake invites everybody and just talks with everybody just because they can. And then some teams won't because they maybe it's your local team and they already know you or something like that. But the only 2 teams that invited me, there's some players that like all the teams wanted to talk to him, like the Andrew Farrell. He was like the number 1 pick. I know Bex was getting invited to a lot of teams.
Bex had an amazing combine, scoring free kicks. Like that guy did it.
Yeah, he was definitely on the radar for sure for like a lot of teams. But I only got invited by Real Salt Lake, who was talking to everybody, and the Galaxy. And I was like, that's weird. So, but anyways, I went up, I had a meeting with them, and it went really well. And Bruce said to me in this meeting, he was like, all right, well, I guess we'll just hope that nobody picks you until our pick. And I was like, does that mean that he's going to pick me in the first round? But like, that was it. So aside from that, I probably wouldn't have gotten picked from, I don't know, maybe I would have gotten picked by the Revolution in the second round. But so I like had that idea, like they might pick me, but who knows? Like anything can happen. I didn't get invited to the combine. Initially, I barely played my senior year. Why would the team that just won the MLS Cup, who has the Landon Donovan, David Beckham, Robby Keane, like why would this team have any interest in me? And so anyways, yeah, they ended up picking me, and that was it.
Bro, that's dope. Like man, you're like, I'm a huge Galaxy fan, bro. So for you to get drafted there, and bro, I felt like I was part of the team. I had season tickets, like amazing, bro. So you get drafted, but you get drafted to the best, I would say the best team in history in the MLS.
Yeah.
And as much as, that's an exciting thing, it was definitely a big mountain to climb, bro. How were you feeling? How did you, what was your thought process as far as like, after being drafted?
So going back to kind of what I was saying before about how our American way is like this flashy, like, just showy kind of whatever. Getting drafted at that point, that was kind of it for me. Like I was, a big part of me was just like, okay, I made it, I'm done. And a lot of players would go into that like, all right, the work just started now. I was like, okay, that's all I needed. Like I'm set. Soccer career is like, that's I've done it. So a big part of me into my soccer professional career was like, this is all just bonus. This is all like, I still really wanted it, especially when I got there. I still really like wanted to keep it and hold on to it, but there wasn't that part of me that's like, all right, now I need to dominate this level. And I got to that level, and I'm not. You can't get away with just being like a little bit physically gifted at that point. So, anyways, I got when I got there, they have their culture. I always thought of them as kind of like a Patriots thing, because Bill Belichick has his culture, and you can either come in and assimilate and like be part of it, or you won't make it. And I feel like they had that. Like, they had won the cup the year before. David Beckham had his big retirement thing, so they were just like, they don't care about me. Like, they don't care about it. The college kid that got drafted. Giassi also was their real first pick, I should say, because he was a homegrown. So he wasn't in the draft, but he was their like golden boy coming into that year. And so I got there, and like, there was just, they had their culture, and you could either figure it out and be part of it, or you weren't going to last there. And I was kind of on the verge most of the time there.
I feel like that's what's tough, man. Like, for American players, like, you get drafted, you think I've made it, and you know, not only go to the biggest market in the soccer world in the US, but you go Bruce Arena, Landon Donovan, Robby, Keane, and their last, I feel like, you know, where's the development? What are they going to do with the fresh? You know, you just got drafted. They just made this big thing. Like, how are they going to keep you? Like, what are they going to do? How are they going to get you ready to, like, there's nothing that I feel like LA Galaxy or these clubs do to develop or to welcome domestic talent, where I think that if we want our league to elevate, if we want our players to actually, you know, develop, is to invest in to players that get drafted like you, to the players that, you know, have climbed up the ladder through the system. And I remember when you left LA Galaxy, and that my biggest problem was that they signed Edson Buttle over you. And I'm like, how does that make sense? Like, I was pissed because Edson Buttle, legend, a Galaxy legend, baller, but they didn't give you a chance. And I'm like, these are the players that LA Galaxy should, or the MLS should, you know, actually invest in. And then, like, I feel like it's nowhere near that.
That's just giving respect to like seniors, like in college, like pay respect to the senior class.
You know, I feel like it's sad, bro, because it's like it's like a system set up for failure. Like, it's you, even if you do the things right, even if you get drafted, you still.
I wouldn't say that they don't do anything for domestic talent, especially Galaxy, because they've always been on the at the forefront of like doing things right and trying to figure out how to do things right and being fair with they give all their first year players, they pay like a good amount of money towards rent and stuff like that. Not all the teams in the league do that. Not all the teams in the league do like catered lunches and like all kinds of different stuff that is just they're fancy. They're like they were the top of the food chain. So they give you all that, and then there's not in any club, there's not the part that I've been talking about a lot of just like, hey, this is like somebody talking to you and telling you like, hey, this is different now. Like, how are you doing with this? I noticed that I don't know, your confidence is different than it usually is when you're playing, or when you're more confident you're playing. Like, just ways to deal with that and ways to navigate, especially at the beginning, especially like entering into that place. So they don't care about that as much, because they don't need me. They don't need that. They can get whatever player they want. And it doesn't say that much for the college system and the draft and all that isn't part of they're not trying to, there's not much motivation to like feed that system or to like promote that system in the same way that there is for the homegrown system. So that's why I think there's a lot more energy put into uh, developing or like pushing up the homegrown players and making sure that they're, because if you get a homegrown player that you can sell to,
Yeah.
I don't know, or just like become a big marketable player, or like a Giassi, that's huge for the whole American system, and just like promoting the whole American
Yeah.
system.
He's had the dream career, bro.
Oh yeah,
Dream career.
yeah. And so also that's a good point, because he's all this stuff I'm talking about the mental stuff. That guy, he was there early every day, and he was eating his breakfast, and he was watching soccer videos. He was just
Yeah.
watching soccer videos just to get, which is so valuable. I figured that out way later. Just watching people score goals, it does something. It does something to your mind. He is the perfect example of somebody who has like the sound mind and just a steady player
Yeah.
that can just keep it going. Like I never saw any kind of like emotional like dips or even like highs really in his, when he's playing. He's just steady, and he's good because of that. So he doesn't have the roller coaster that a lot of people do, and that I did. And he just has this like baseline that's like, he's good no matter what happens. He struggled his first year too. He was playing a lot, and he wasn't scoring, or like there was a lot of chances he had that weren't, he wasn't finishing. So there was like some chat about that, but he's steady, figured it out, got huge, like got in the weight room in the off season. He's that mental sound player that we need to be figuring things out based on like what is it about him that makes him such a steady, mentally sound player that got him to where he is now, starting for the national team.
Bro, he's still doing it. And he's still, like you said, yeah, I don't he's never really had up and down, maybe like a few injuries, but like he's won a few rings with different teams, bro. He won it last year. Like he's still scoring. Like that guy, yeah, man, that's definitely shows the importance of what you're saying, is that if that's the longevity of a player right there. Like, having that mental toughness, mental soundness, and just a healthy mind, bro. That
healthy mind is a huge thing. My claim to fame is that he subbed on for me after my first start. He was my sub.
That group, man, that locker room, I want to know, bro, because Robby, like, if there's, I have my feelings about the DP players and the MLS. I know that we had to bring the David Beckhams in order for our league to grow, and I always kind of talk shit about like the Higuain brothers, who they're getting cashed out, and they don't care. They're just here to take a piss on the league. But me being a huge Galaxy fan, bro, Robby Keane, he did it right. He came here to play.
One of the best MLS signings ever.
Yes, bro. He came here to play. He took it serious. He was our captain and got us 2 rings.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah, man. So I think that as much as I don't like the DP rule, like in no instances like that where you bring somebody like that can work. And I think that we have to stop bringing like the retired players here to sell seats. I feel like it's unfair to the fans, and it's also unfair to some of the players. Like Sachi was telling me that when they signed Henry, he wouldn't train. He had to be obviously protected and stuff like that. But it's just like that fucks up the whole morale of a team. That I think that's again to like culture in America. Selling seats comes first.
I think you just said culture. I was about to say, I think the biggest value to bringing in these older European players is on like a tail end of their career, is if they can bring in the culture that they, like I was saying, if they're playing and they're playing at that level since they're 5 years old, that's all they care about. They know the game. They're just like, that's their whole life. If they can bring that culture that their country that raised them like that, they can bring some of that to the team over here, then I think it's great. It's a great signing. It's a great choice. But if they're just doing like filling seats or being like the name because they need some kind of name to have on their on every club, like they need some kind of like head name for some reason, that makes no sense in terms of like helping the whole league and the whole system.
It's definitely changing though, especially in the I see it change out throughout the league with Atlanta United. You know, they're taking, you know, they're signing their DPS from like South America, younger guys from River Plate, which is awesome. But what I like where I seen the last maybe a year or 2 years is that the Galaxy's doing it. I feel like the Galaxy, the market is so big, so they have this pressure on signing the biggest things. And I feel like the last few signings, DP signings that they've had, I think Chicharito's great. I think the new Serbian guy that I think he might be, I don't know if he's Serbian or from Bosnia, but you don't know. It's good to see the league that, you know, stepping away from that. I feel like before it was just like, let's sign the biggest name that we can sell jerseys. But I feel like you bringing in that Robby Keane, that leadership, that like Carlos Vela's doing it too. You know, it's just like he's not super washed up, but like not that he's washed up. He's still in his prime, but he's also, you can tell he's a guy that like has brought, like, is about the team, that's gonna train every single day.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think the stigma about the MLS being like a non-competitive league is valid anymore. I don't think, like, even since I was playing in that league, I think it's come a long way. And I think it really is like a decent competitive, a highly competitive league. That's not just like a bunch of like strong guys running around and beasting each other anymore. It's like, it's actually a good league. And because they're bringing these types of players that you're talking about, like it's not, they're not just bringing names anymore that are going to sell jerseys and all that. It's like actually changing and shifting the level of the league.
Yeah. How was it playing with Landon Donovan? Because when it comes to American soccer, bro, there's no one bigger. Like that's Jesus.
Bro, it was surreal for me. Like, just like we were in the dorm a year before, we were watching their championship run, and like then like a couple months later I'm like with that team. It was so surreal to me. So anyways, it was like, it felt weird, just like boom, I'm in the middle of this. Like, these guys are soccer legends, let alone like the Galaxy being a soccer, like this mythical team over in California that, bro, it was crazy. And then sometimes David Beckham would drop by and like out or practice with us, and I was like, this is unreal. Like it doesn't feel real. So yeah, I was just like kind of starstruck. So like, how are you gonna like relax and be yourself on the field if you're just like starstruck with these players? And like, yeah, you get on the field and you're kind of forget about stuff, but still, I was like, I never got to the point where I was completely just able to be comfortable and feel free to play. I did with Galaxy too. Like that was, I kind of felt, and that's why I had a good season with them. But but so yeah, everybody was nice though. Like that culture that I was talking about, it wasn't anything wrong with that culture that you had to like come in and fit into. But like, Landon was very nice. Everybody was very nice. Robby, very nice. Everybody was kind, and like, I don't know, there wasn't anything to complain about there. It was just they had their thing. Like they didn't need anybody new really. So like, and they'd already done a lot of their glory days with Beckham and stuff like that. So there was still some
training sessions like
bro, so well done. Like I've never been in an organization, any kind of organization, that was so well set up and well put together. Training should always be an hour and 10 minutes. Bruce always had an hour and 10 minutes, which is,
I remember you used to tell me like, bro, like the training sessions are a breeze. Like
dialed. It's not a breeze though. It's like
just not, but like short, you know?
Yeah. But it wasn't like, yeah, it was hard, but he said an hour and 10 minutes. He would, beginning of practice, we're gonna do this. We'll get about an hour and 10 minutes. And it was always just a warm-up, like 10-15 minute warm-up, then some kind of passing maybe, and then maybe some kind of keep away game, and then play. And like the starters might do like some kind of other game where they're not running as hard. And then the non-starters would have like a more competitive small-sided to big goals game. But it was always just boom, 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 on to the next thing. Everything's set up. You just get your drink and you move on to the next thing. an hour and 10 minutes, you're done. You're wrecked if you're not one of the starters.
Yeah.
But it was just so organized, and that was your chance. Like that created this, like, especially for the non-starters, it created this, like, you have an hour to prove yourself. You know what I mean? You have an hour to, like, this is it. Like, it's not like this 2 hour we're kind of like waiting around, like setting up the next thing, which like college is like that. Even Indy 11 was like that, which I could not stand. Like going on loan to Indy 11, I could not stand how unorganized it was, especially coming from this kind of training where it was just like, all right, this is it. And that was just the culture of like, boom, boom, boom. This is your chance to prove yourself in practice. If you're not a starter, show what you have. And then that was it. And you could work out after the practice. You could work. Some people worked out before, like lifting. I didn't figure that out until my second year. Like I thought I was big enough. I was like all that. Like I didn't do like team workouts, which were optional. They're just like up on the board. You could do the workout or not. So I didn't do any of that until my second year. But that was it. You get there at 8, practice starts at 10. You have to get there by 8. You can get there earlier. You get treatment or whatever. Practice starts at 10, hour and 10 minutes. And then that's it. You can do whatever you want after that. There's catered lunch, all that. Yeah. And then you go home. The rest of the day is yours, which that is the life. That is like actually.
I wanted to ask you, what's Bruce Arena like, bro? Like people sleep on Bruce Arena. Like people can talk shit about American coaches and as far as like, the Gorgon Klinsmans, but like in my eyes, Bruce Arena is the most successful like US men's soccer coach.
Absolutely. And he's just he figured out a way to, like, he had a system. He figured out a system and he figured out a way to plug certain players in. And like I call him the Patriots kind of, or Bill Belichick, because he would just take a lot of times he just take players that were kind of unexpected and he just saw something in them that would fit into his system, and knew that he could either train them to do what he needed them to do, or they already were like had some kind of advantage that he could just fit into his system, and he would just bring him in and plug him in. That's why I got chosen, because I was like, I wasn't like one of the top guys that everybody was talking about at the combine. I was just like, he saw me as like the type of forward that he might be able to. I think it probably was like a second, like a backup to Giassi. So like it was either going to be me or Giassi as that like complement to Robby Keane.
Think about like his thinking for that. Like
exactly.
He knew what he was looking for.
Exactly. And it's crazy. Not what everybody's looking for.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's one of the best, is he just has his pieces, he knows where they are, and he knows how to just pick and plug them into various places. And he knows how to like make the most of what he has too, without just being like, I mean, it was a type of coaching that I hadn't ever seen before. And it was just very like he knew what he was doing. He knew what he wanted, and if you couldn't do it, then the next guy is ready to go. Like the next guy is ready to show up. And it was very specific. It always felt very specific what he wanted. Like you could feel like you had a great day of training, but he wants you to be more aggressive in the box or something. Like I could do all kinds of great stuff outside the box, but he just wants to be more aggressive in the box.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Like I could have a training that I thought was not great, and he would come up to me and say, good stuff today. Good stuff today, Charlie. So that was interesting, but super valuable, having him as a coach and just being part of that whole organization, how well put together and how well it was run. Right. Because I still use a lot of the, sorry.
When they got the ring, did you play that season, or were you with the Dos?
No, I had it ready for you here.
Huh?
I had it ready for you here.
Oh man. Oh man, yo, people forget, bro. People forget. Like if I had one of those, I would wear it around my neck. Iced out, bro.
So that was Los Dos here. So I was on loan to Los Dos for that year, and
For
then
that year.
the end of that year, I got loaned to Indy 11 for a month for their end of their season. But then I came back and I got to be part of the last few games.
Yeah, I remember my sister was being there. But you also got to go to the White House as soon as you came in because of the year before, no?
Yeah. That was another part of the just surreal. Like
Yeah.
a couple months before, we were just chilling in Edmonds, and then now I'm at the White House. Like all these players that I've idolized and the team that I idolized, like it was crazy. Kobe Jones, like I remember another crazy thing that makes me feel like life is weird. I was when I was younger, I had cornrows, or I had like braids that would come off the side of my head, and the lunch guy, the guy in the cafeteria at school, would call me Kobe Jones. I like every day, he would just call me Kobe Jones, and then next thing I know, I'm like, or I don't know, not next thing I know, but I was like meeting Kobe Jones, like he's just around, like
Yeah.
I didn't even know who he was when I was like second grade or whatever.
Man, that's the face of the galaxy, bro. That's Kobe Jones is iconic, bro. Not just because of what he did for the Galaxy, but Kobe Jones is a part of MLS culture, bro. Like as far as like he was one of the first African American players that was, big time. The dreads, like he was it. Like he was swaggy. He was I remember I wanted to be number 13 because of Kobe Jones. And as of the years, like, bro, there's only like certain, like, I feel like there needs to be more Kobe Jones that come into the league and like make it their own way so they can be iconic, That's why I love Jazzy. Jazzy paint the hair and just like you said, like homegrown player, like it can show that, it's not just about what they do on the field, but like the impact that they have and the influence that they have on the whole league itself. You had a good year with Galaxy 2. Did you, and you bounced around with Indy 11. Did you think you needed to go to Europe to kind of just like step up your career or kind of just like take a different trajectory? Or do you wish you would have stayed in the American league, in the American leagues?
Before I go to that, I just want to go back to Bruce real quick, because another thing that he did or I think he did that was that's related to what I've been talking about a lot with the mental side of things, is I think he identified players based on that, like that kind of thing that they had, like the mental soundness. I think he looked at that as a big part of his selection process. And I don't think a lot of coaches do that. I think they just look at like performance on the field.
Yeah.
I think he valued that a lot.
I think if you look at like Klopp, what he's done at Liverpool, I feel like it's total opposite of what Mourinho does. I feel like he builds a relationship with his players, and I feel like building that relationship with your players, not just it just like gets them to work for you, or like gets them to like, just like on a different level, that rather, just yelling them and like Ed Kelly down the road, you're not gonna, I guess get the best out of a player if you're just yelling at them or just like, constantly just, I feel like that style of coaching is so outdated. Like it's so like, I hate the way Mourinho carries himself. I hate how people suck him off because he's the chosen, like, bro, like you're a shitty person.
It's that whole thing that we're moving towards, which is looking at the whole player or the whole individual instead of just the athlete. And I think some coaches do that a little bit more than others. And I think one of the things that Bruce did was he looked at players like values, like the values of a certain player, and looked at how that could contribute to them on the field. So instead of just their performance. Yeah,
it's I feel like coaches like that put the locker room first, the team first. It's not about ego. I feel like Bruce Arena doesn't have an ego. I feel like he's very into.
I don't know about that.
Does he?
Yeah.
I just feel maybe because he's successful and all of that. I feel like he's very more like.
Yeah, it's not unfounded ego though. It's like you're successful, the most successful. So but I wouldn't say he has no ego.
So you go to Germany.
So So Germany was like, my contract with Galaxy didn't get picked up or extended, and I could have like gone to USL and like figured out a team to go to. I think I was like considering San Antonio. And I just saw that as like I was still like eager to like hang on to this MLS thing. Like I started at the top. I still like, I wanted to have that forever. And in LA too, like I don't want to leave LA. That's like, everything was just better over there. So I didn't want to go to San Antonio and go to this USL team. I saw like I played against these teams with Galaxy 2. I knew that just the organization. I played with Indy 11, which was a terrible season for me. I knew that these leagues were just like, or these lower level league teams were just not as organized, not as talented, not just everything was going to be down a level. And I just saw that path as like, I'm going to be stuck in that for the rest of my career. And I was like 20, 25, 26. I'm going to be stuck in bouncing around these USL teams like I've seen so many other players do for the rest of their careers, which ultimately ended up being the reason that we can get to later, but ultimately ended up being the reason that I stopped playing because I just didn't want to do that. So I went to Germany because I saw that as the best opportunity to like either go play well there and move up in the German league, or go play well there and move up in the German league and then come back to MLS and still play MLS. So I just saw that as a more valuable potential option in that sense. Which
how'd you like it?
Didn't end up being that, but it was pretty brutal at first because I was coming from LA and it was January, so I got there, it was like gray, new culture, new players, new language, new like league. This league was Regionalliga, so it was like some of the players were professional, all of them were professional, but some of them were just like happy to be there, kind of like college, like that kind of attitude about it. But also not like college because they took it way more seriously than college. Like everybody was like, this is everything when it came to game time. But they weren't trying to like I was going there with the intention of moving up to the second division or like playing with a higher level team there. And none of those other guys were really, like, maybe a couple of them were trying to do that, but nobody else was really trying to like progress their career. It was all just about like, it was this town, like we're playing for this town and we just need to, we want to be successful for this team, this town. And there was like a lot of energy around that, but it wasn't like the same energy that I had. I was trying to go, places. So it was rough. The first coach I had for some reason didn't like me. And so he wasn't playing me. Like I definitely think I should have been playing. That's a situation that I should have been playing, I think, but I wasn't playing with that coach. I ended up leaving that team after half of a season and going to another team that was supposed to be a better situation, according to my agent, who, looking back, didn't really care what was going on. So I went to another team that was supposed to be a better situation, and it ended up being almost a worse situation with, like, the coach was a little bit nicer and the team was a little bit more like, I don't know, a little bit more casual even. So I played like the second half of that season. I played a lot, but it was it didn't pan out how I wanted it to going into Germany. And it also sucked because I was like, at a certain point, I was like realizing what was happening and I was stuck there. So I was like stuck in another country, and it wasn't great. So like, what am I gonna do? I'm under contract, so like, how does that work? Can I just leave? Like, we go back to America and what? I'm not gonna, like, in the middle of a season, nobody's gonna sign me. I'm not gonna be able to play. for a team. So like, what am I going to do? And so I just stuck it out the rest of the season with the second team that I was with. And I came back, and ultimately I had an injury coming back. So I ultimately ended up just saying, I'm not going to like bounce around these lower level teams or second division teams. And I don't know, not really have like a home base and just stay in this like USL league, making like barely any money for,
Yeah.
I mean, not no money, but like not good money. So I just felt like it was going nowhere. So I kind of just said, that's it. I don't need to be like worrying about where I'm going to be in the next 6 months or the next year. And that was it. And it's just taxing on your body too. Like I was tired. It was tiring stuff. Like every day it was a lot. So I was kind of craving that, like, all right, I can stay in one place for a year or two and know that this is going to be my life for a little bit, and try some other stuff too, like some other things with my life. So I had been craving that, I think, for a long time. And so that's what I ended up deciding to do.
A harsh reality players have to face, what do we do when it's time to hang up the boots? It's like, yeah, we want to play on forever, but body's getting hurt. It's you get tired of kind of being in the same scenarios, so is it worth it? Like, is it, for you, it came at, later on at 25 after you got to play pro. For me, it was right after college. Like, I don't want to keep doing this shit. Like, it's not worth it. There's no pride in it. There's no money for it. And it's just like, at the end of the day, like I had a BC degree. That was good enough for me. For you, you got drafted by the LA Galaxy. You were an MLS champ. Like, that's good enough for you. And, it's in my eyes that both of our stories are successful. But where it's hard, it's a hard pill to swallow is like, damn, these are the best case scenarios. These are like, these are where American players, like, these are the trajectory of their career. And it's just like sad because it shouldn't be like that. At 25, 26, you should have been in your prime, and it's just like tough. It's tough. Like, it's tough being a pro, and it's tough. I feel like up here too,
It is tough being a pro. And that was a big part. Like, if it's not going anywhere, if it's not going to, like, if you're not established in an MLS, like, starting lineup by the time you're 26 or something. I think Wondolowski was like 27 before he got like established in the team, but that doesn't happen for most people. If you're not established by the time you're 25, 26, then you're not gonna make it. And I was 26 when I stopped, so I saw what was coming. I saw this USL path that I was gonna, like, yeah, I could have probably played for another 5 years in USL, or like just hung on to this USL lifestyle for a while. Like, I've seen so many players do that. But they did tell us when I got to LA, I don't know what it was, somebody that from the league or the union that came and talked to us. They did tell us that almost everybody, your career is going to end before you expect it to. It's always going to end sooner than you expect it to. And that's exactly what happened. Like, nobody, even the higher level players, maybe David Beckham, like, that's how many players have that glory, like, all right, I have this big retirement, and then, all right, I'm just going to go casually play for PSG real quick again, and that's my actual retirement. Like, none of these players actually can just have like a steady career and then like say, okay, I think I'm going to start thinking about retirement. Like, that barely ever happens with most players. You don't expect it, but that's another part of this whole thing that I'm talking about with having the mental part of it, is like, if you have some kind of mental soundness and some kind of structure and values that I think make you a better player, I think that will also help you with transitioning out of that. Because if you have a sense of self, if you have a solid sense of self as a player, your whole career, your whole youth development, then you'll still have a solid sense of self that it isn't tied to soccer when you leave the game. When the game leaves you. So that, I mean, I'm sure there's so many players out there that have gone through that I mean, it's your whole identity from
Yeah.
if you're pretty young. It's your whole identity. Some kind of sport, some kind of athletic ability is your whole identity. And then all of a sudden, you don't need to prove yourself every weekend to prove your value to the world.
Yeah.
So how are you going to adjust to that? If you have a solid sense of self and some value and know that you're who you are as a person a little bit better, I think it's valuable as a player. And then I think that will also help when you stop playing, and it will take you
So
into
true, folks.
whatever else you're going to do.
So true. Just from my experience, like once I stopped playing, I knew I was so frustrated with soccer and I hated soccer and I was like, fuck soccer. But then when I quit, I'm like, what do I do now, bro? Yeah, it was who I am. I was the soccer person, and it's a hard process to dig yourself out of that and kind of like prove to yourself that you're more than an athlete. And you do, you know, it's hard in those dark times of when you put the, you know, hang up the game. It's hard to find, okay, what else? Like, I feel like those are the most vulnerable times of an athlete's career, where we have to, like, you know, we have to let people know that it's not the end of the world, that there's ways to deal with this, you know. And just because it's a almost like it's like a grieving process. It's like, fuck, you just put away, you know, the last 25 years of your life. So it's definitely, as much as like sports are beneficial to your life, you know, when they end, they also, it's hard to adjust to, like, I guess, reality.
I can tell you, I feel like a completely different human from, like, it's like the right when I stopped playing, my life after that, I am a completely different human. Like, I don't even recognize the player or the person that I was when I was playing. It's weird. Like, it's a different life.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like we can actually, even though I was frustrated with soccer, like after I got out of that funk, like I can enjoy it. Like, it doesn't have to be my number one priority, and it just like, oh, it's like I'm still interested, but like there's other things I wanted to do with my life. You know, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Bro, your art, like that's why when we started the podcast, I feel like, bro, the time with you and as I got to know you, like, to me, you're an artist. Like, I've seen, you know, people have seen your art, people have really, like, you know, like, bro, you got it. And I feel like soccer came to you second nature. So I always admire that. I was like, yo, how is this guy so, you know, so successful, and he doesn't really, like, you know, it just comes to you natural. So, man, that's amazing, bro. And I'm glad you're at a stage where, you know, you did that and you're gone on to like better things and kind of, you know, establish yourself as, you know, as a trainer and as an artist.
Yeah, and that's part of, like, I felt that my whole playing career. I felt like I gotta hang on to this soccer career. I gotta hang on to, like, this is what I am. Like, I have that identity, but I also felt this pull to, like, there's something that I'm not doing that I'm like, I'll do it eventually. But I was like, I'm tired of, like, soccer. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
There was a big part of me inside that was like, soccer is not everything, and there's something else out there that I want to do. And I think a big part of that is my art, but probably things related to that too. But I think that's also, it's also so important, especially with this, we're talking about this youth stuff. Like, there needs to be a big shift in this youth stuff that is teaching kids that there's that they are, again, looking at the whole individual and not just the player. And I know that will help their playing, it'll help their playing development so much, and it'll also help their transition out of the sport. It'll just help everything a lot more if we're thinking about these things from the beginning.
I agree. I think these are the tools that are keeping us from, you know, winning or elevating the value of the sport. Is like, you know, I feel like everything here about America is about winning and competitive and want to be number one. That, do we actually care, you know, about the individuals that are, you know, in these competitions or playing these sports? And I feel like that comes second. And I feel like that's so naive, just because we want a better level, we want better players, and like, we're not tapping into this stuff that you're saying that is preventing us from developing the best players in the world.
It's coming. I'm hoping to be part of it, but I think it's coming because, like I said, somebody's going to figure out that there's more to it than lots of cones and all that. But yeah, I think it is coming. And I do that. I coach. I have goodgamefit.com. And I do physical coaching, and then I also do like mental coaching with some players too. But I left club soccer because like I don't need that. I don't enjoy that as much. I don't feel like I can offer as much if I'm just coaching, training, rather than the things that I'm talking about with you, which is a lot of like how to navigate life in relation to soccer.
100%, bro. Like that's why I've stepped away from the coaching world. It's just like it's all money rooted. Like these clubs, they don't really care about the development. They care about winning. They care about putting a temporary group of kids together and giving them an experience, when it's like soccer is more than that. Life is more than that. And I think like also for me, it's like, if I'm going to coach, I'm going to do it in the school setting, like in a school setting where I can be more than just a coach or more than just like a sports figure, bro. Like I realized that in these environments, there's kids that don't have dads. There's kids that, don't have a big brother, that, come from a single parent home. And that's like more valuable to I'd rather share my information, my experience with that kind of scenario instead of your typical American youth soccer. It's just like, I feel like it's so shallow. Parents don't really care for you. Parents just, bro, they just want their kids to be good. And I feel like, it goes back to the whole spectrum of American culture. We have to be number one. We have to be competitive. So it's a lot of things that, we have to shine the light. But I feel like, yeah, bro, like me and you, like we're going to be the change in the world that we want to see. As cheesy as that sounds, like it's going to come from us. Like it's going to come from the next generation, because we lived it. Like as far as like 25 years ago, when we were growing up, the MLS was young, youth soccer was young, but like we've kind of had the last 25 years to give them a crack. Like the youth club soccer, the federation is like, it's not really gone where promised to be. It is never, they sold us. I feel like club soccer sold us so much bad information. Like the bar is so low and lazy, and it's time for it to change and actually focus on the important things for the actual individual player.
And I would say to everybody that you have on this podcast that they should be thinking about that too. Like, what can they offer that's not just the same stuff that everybody's done before, the same stuff that they've learned, the physical, like the drills and all that. Like, what can you offer about your experience that is actually valuable and can actually help the next generation?
Yeah, and that's one thing I love to see about our generation, bro, is that I guess I'm seeing more people that have, kind of hung up the boots to come back to the game and teach and have their own development or have their own training program. And it's completely different from what I saw growing up. It's more actually, I think, accurate as far as like, okay, like, here's the development part of it. And also I feel like there's a lot of firsthand experience on like what to expect, on like what flaws, not what flaws the system has that, can be avoided. So I think soccer is, I'm positive about it, bro. I'm so optimistic about it. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting to see the next generation. As far as for you, how do you feel about the current state of the MLS?
It's heading in the right direction. I think it's going to take a while, but I think it's definitely getting a lot better. And I mean, just from the time that I was there, I think it's come a long way. And I see games and I'm like, this is a high level. This is like comparable to some of these, like it's getting closer to comparable to some of these European leagues. And like people used to say that the German third division was better than MLS.
Yeah, no way.
No chance anymore. I don't think that's the case at all.
Yeah.
It's definitely, that's still a super high level, but like, no, MLS is very good competitive level.
I think MLS soccer is gonna not. I think it's definitely improved. There's definitely, I'll say, top 20 leagues in the world, just because of its resources and the growth that it's had. But also, I feel like in the next 5 to 10 years, MLS is not just going to be a league. MLS is going to be like a style of play, bro. Because if you break down the way the MLS, the game is played. It's physical, it's strong. Like players come to this league and be like, bro, this is fast. This is like, I think eventually people are going to give us that respect and just be like, bro, this is a tough league to play. Like,
yeah. And it depends who you're bringing. Like, as we're going through these like transitions of who are these big name players that we're bringing in from other countries, it really matters who you're bringing in and who's going to shift the style of play who's going to shift the style of play of the whole league. So we're bringing in all these like South American players. I don't think it's like a big like physical league as much anymore. I don't feel like it's a super physical. I think there's a lot of like technical, tactical stuff going on that is not like what it was. Especially like when I was a kid watching Revolution, like that was way more just like college, like the best college players coming in and like making it to the MLS.
Like Shari Joseph wearing turf cleats those days.
He's still wearing
them. But yeah, man, I think, yeah, we've been going on for like 2 hours. I think a lot. This was different. This one was different. You know, I came to pretty much, I came here as a fan, bro. You know, I'm a huge Galaxy fan. So I was going to ask you more about your experience there. But everything you brought up hasn't been said. Like, you know, you educated, like I've never even thought about soccer in the way you were talking about. And it's, as someone that is teaching the game now, and like I want to take the responsibility to give back, I feel like these are the conversations that I need to have and kind of just also like share. So, bro, thank you for your time. And I know, you know, your experience and your career, bro, has been a success. So I'm proud of you, bro. You know, you're one of my favorite friends, and I've been fortunate and I've been lucky to be a part of your career and kind of seeing you grow. So I'm glad you were able to live out the dream, bro. Like, and you should be proud of yourself, bro. Your mom's proud of you, and you know, the whole city of Boston College, and
hey, thank you. You're providing the platform for us to have these conversations, and I mean, it'll keep growing. If you keep it going, it'll keep growing, and people are going to keep listening to it, because you're going to have these ones that you hear stuff, that perspectives that other people haven't heard before, that you haven't heard before, I haven't heard before, and it's just going to keep growing like that. So thank you for providing the platform for us to talk about this stuff. I love it. I love talking about it, my experience. And like I said, that's what I do with kids now. And so I enjoy it. And let's do it again. We'll do it again.
Man, definitely. I feel like there's so much we could have, you know, covered and dove into it. But yeah, man, a lot to digest for me, and kind of just, this is my way to build culture. I feel like this is our generation's way to, you know, to create culture and to build this culture, like to provide a platform like this where we can just speak soccer. I'm not here to bash the national team. I'm not here to talk about the old days, you know, like all of that is fun and stuff, but like I want to have these progressive talks that are going to elevate the game from different, you know, experiences and firsthand people. So you're definitely a credible person, and man, thank you for giving me the time, bro. I know you'll definitely be back on, and I can't wait to see you soon.
Thank you.
Peace out, big dog.